Is President Jonathan's era now a basis of comparison? I thought your party said nothing good happened in that era.
See, what I'm saying is that why this has suddenly become an issue. The issue of this is a government that what we call.
So are you saying that the citizenry who voted don't have a right to raise concerns?
Of course they do. That's what I'm saying. This is still a government, a work in progress. See, when Dr. Jonathan lost the election last year, he didn't lose the election on the basis of which appointments he made, which, on which that was not on the basis of that he lost the election. It was on the basis of those two cardinal parameters of the Constitution: security and the welfare of the citizens.
Now let us talk about the welfare of the citizens.
Okay, fine.
Let's talk about which borders very strongly on the economy, which is one area, you've been trying to say we didn't quite understand, we didn't see very clearly, it was a little opaque, we took time to look at it, but people have said it's a year on. I mean, he first of all took the president time to appoint his ministers, eventually ministers came in, and now your administration, the APC administration, has celebrated a year plus now, and citizens are saying things have never been this bad. They have not felt it this bad in a while. What is going on?
Thank you, Malpe. First of all, 1 year in the life of a nation is short, and at the same time, it's long. Okay?
But primarily in the life of an administration.
Well, in the life of,
that has a 4-year
government is a continuum. You see, steadily, Nigeria had been battered continuously in the last 30 years. Let me finish. You are making me break my train of thought.
Don't break it.
Okay,
but just to add that, is there anything wrong with politicians if they say, look, we underestimated or overestimated or overpromised, but we made a mistake in some way, but we'll correct this in so and so time? What's wrong with that?
See, there's nothing wrong with that. But what is important is that this government has just spent about 25%, barely 25% of its lifespan.
But that's not just.
That is still, look, I come from a background of project management. I just told you that project time, that planning takes 85% of project
Mr.
time.
Fasakin, you're aware that hundreds, even thousands of people are losing their jobs.
See, let me tell you.
And you're talking about just 25%. That's their life we're talking about, for those who lost their jobs.
For heaven's sake, look, we need to understand that a decadence that had been on for about 30 years, you want it to be wiped off in just 1 year? The decisions that this president is making now, they are decisions that ought to have taken place. Now, see, the other day, Kebbi State signed a contract or a kind of memorandum of understanding with Lagos State on rice production. These are things that have gestation period. These are things that will take place.
The federal government.
Come on. In 18 months, this government is saying that will stop depending on Thailand and all those things on rice production. Doesn't that make any sense to you? You think that, just within 1 year? See, let me tell you, we need to make haste slowly as a nation. There is time for everything, and I think for you as journalists, it's also important for you to be able to help to educate our people properly.
Okay. You don't think this is a helpless one for the party, for the APC? What best for it to do now is to apologize to the nation and see how they can remedy this.
Apologize?
Because if you look at what has been, as a scientist, what came on television is what you would want to call empirical evidence, and you have them there, and you can actually relate these faces and names to those positions and where they're from in the country. If we had that huge list or that long list coming from a particular section of the country, and people are asking questions of this government, and they think that the yardstick is the last administration, and they say two wrongs
It's
don't
not
make
about.
right.
It's not about. See,
Why
when I made the comparison, when I told you about.
Why can't the APC do what is right?
Thank you.
If they have erred?
Now I will respond to that quickly. You see, when I made reference to the last administration, I am not trying to make a comparison with the last administration. What I've just tried to do for you is to ask you, how did it now become such an issue? Now, let me respond to your earlier question. See, on security appointments, if you are very versed and attuned to the facts, it's not just that the president will just say, okay, now this so-so person, let's appoint so-so person. For instance, in an organization like maybe prisons, customs, or the police and all those things, there are processes. You have security reports on the potential, candidates, the potential, persons to be appointed. There are security reports, and if security reports are not very, 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 favorable to the people, do you still want them to be appointed?
Let me bring this other aspect.
Don't you think that there'll be something, so these are issues that you need to understand.
I did tell you that you have politicians who are raising this, even within your party, but if the next quote comes from Dr. Junaid Mohammed, I mean, yes, we did bring it up previously, but he's been speaking about what he's seeing and things should be corrected. And he starts by saying, quote, Buhari must apply the law equitably and justly in his fight against corruption and insurgents, such as Boko Haram and Niger Delta Avengers, and listen more to Nigerians. But unfortunately for the country and Buhari's legacy himself, he has packed the government and especially the presidency, which is really the center of power, and made it top-heavy with his relations. In my own understanding of history and politics, this is what you call nepotism, and if you're against corruption, you cannot be nepotistic.
Thank you. That's, the right to an opinion is a fundamental right. I mean, just like we all, I have a right to an opinion.
Do you see any truth?
That is Mr.
Do you see any Dr. Junaid Mohammed?
Dr. Junaid.
Do you see any truth in what he has said?
See.
Do you see any truth in what he has said?
It's left to be seen whether he is privy to all the facts before coming to.
But this is your party.
Nobody can hold on to a position, above the level of information available to him.
Now that's
do you understand that?
Just a minute.
Do you understand
this is your party now. So you tell us, is there any truth in what he has said? Yes or no?
Truth in what? Based on the various facts, that only the president. I am not even privy to the facts that the president has, even though I'm in APC and I've been with him for a while.
Well, you're not being, what, as they say, carried along?
Let me tell you. At the end of the day, there are a few names. That's why even in any appointment, they will make at least 3 names that are sent to the president. It is his prerogative as the man at the apogee of political governance to make the final decision. He is privy to all the facts.
I think let's look at it from this perspective.
Yes.
The APC, so many Nigerians were very happy when they saw the APC coming because of the change mantra. And if we haven't seen a change in that regard, now we're looking at appointments. Don't you think that they should go back and do what they should do? Don't forget that we're talking about a population of millions of Nigerians, over 100 million adults Nigerians. And you say security report may not have favored some people. So are these the only ones from a section of the country that the report favored? as against the other region. These are some of the things that the party must address.
Thank you very much. I've only told you you have a long process, before the appointment. Appointment process for anybody is a long process. So security report is part of that, And these are, when, for instance, at the end of the day, the president is still going to be accountable,
all right,
to the Nigerian people at the end of the day. So it's important. Thank you.
We'll have to anchor at that point. Mr. Rotimi Fasakin, a member of the APC, thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
Well, we will be back in just a moment. Do join us again.